Let's do it.
Fabulous. So, good to be in front of you guys. I'm Anthony, this is Kate, and we are delighted to bring to you some tips around the holiday season. And so, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but for a lot of people, it is the most stressful time of year. I know Kate's going to share some statistics around it.
Yes.
But unfortunately, when we do look at the stats, it's the time of year that has the highest incidence of suicide. And I want you to start right from the get-go, because we're going to cover a number of topics tonight. Let's get some dog hair out of my mouth. The first one is around our mindset. And I don't like the word, but I use it so that people can relate to what I'm talking about. Because as soon as I say mindset, it's like it's set in stone. And if your mind is set, then you continue to do what you've always done. And then you may have good results, but it's predictable the times you don't, because that's the set that you play, if that makes sense. So when you have a mind flow, if you will, that's adaptable, and that's what I want to talk about. Then I'm going to hand over to Kate. She's going to talk all about relationships. And then we have some amazing women who are going to pop on and talk all around about health and vitality.
And ultimately, you know, the tribal wellness movement, what we're all about, it's about helping families create wellness, but it's not just that one thing. It is looking at all elements of life to be able to do that. And so that's, you know, it's been our passion and mission for the last 20 years. And this movement has impacted tens of thousands of families around the world. And it's something that we know is a constant topic of conversation when we're chatting with our team and with our clients, that this time of the year does bring up a lot of stress, which is why we wanted to put tonight on for you all. So jump into it.
I love that essential ed, mindfulness.
Yes, definitely.
Mindfulness, mind flow, definitely not mindset. So if you think about the quality of our lives, it's directly proportional to the quality of emotions that we consistently experience. So if you think about any given day, what are the dominant emotions? And you might just want to do a little check of today to go, all right, when I woke up, was I angry, frustrated? Was I fearful? Was I happy? Was I joyful? And if you look at the quality of your life based on the quality of the emotions that you have, often we do a bunch of stuff in hope that we then get the emotion. So when you think about the holiday period coming up, instead of being at the default, which is, I guess I'll feel however the day goes. And if that person does that, if the turkey comes out right, if all these rules, then I get to be happy, joyful, grateful, for example. Instead of being deliberate, going, what are the emotions? Let's start there. Let's start with the emotions that you want to experience for you. And then through your influence, because when you are fluent within your emotions and all of your values are in order, you can then have influence outwardly. And so it's not like you can control other people's emotions, but if you turn up joyful, happy, grateful, you already know that uncle who's going to do the dumb thing, or the dad joke, or the turkey that doesn't get cooked. All these rules will probably get broken. But if you go in with a mindset going, who cares? Because the whole purpose of this period of time, what is it for you? Is it to be grateful? Is it to bring some joy out in others and go, well, how could I influence that? What are the questions I could ask people instead of going, how's your year? You know, same old, you know, the Rona, you know, that question alone, you could be at the cause end of that other person, a significant other, someone you haven't seen, to have a really great experience on just asking a better question. And so Kate will get into that. But what I'd love you to do is go ahead and in the comments, start to put in what are the 3 dominant emotions that you would like to be at the cause end of. You want to be deliberate about those not at the default end. Go for it. And so as you're popping those in, the dominant emotions, start to think about what you've done in the past in order to try and feel those. And so often we forget that it's, oh, that's the emotion we want. That's the quality of the life we want. And we go do a bunch of stuff to try and fill that void.
Or we buy a bunch of stuff.
Well, that's the thing. We either fill up with certain foods, fill up with alcohol to get a particular feeling. We fill up by buying all of the, think about how society has rigged the game. It's all about the consumerism. You need to have that in order to be happy. Because I saw the ad, the Facebook thing popped up. It's ingenious. But again, if you want to be at the effect of that, then you'll just keep going and looking at the whole default.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to be deliberate, you start to go, what are the emotions I want? And where are my, where's my slip and checks? I already know that in the past, I've overbought presents. I've tried to keep up with the Joneses. I've tried to impress someone.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going, what actually really matters? So Yvette says, being grateful, at peace, and joyful. Maxine says, gratitude, joy, and love. Anna, gratitude, joy. Janae, joyful gratitude.
It's a lot of
Do you
commonality
see a
there.
pattern here? All right. And so it's only you. Now, I know there's been so much cray-cray happening in the world of 2020, but there's always something to be grateful for.
Mm.
So the way to bring that to your festive season is to go first and start to look at what are the things that do stress me out. Why would I go compete at the shops? What are the things that I've done in the past and I'm ready gearing up to go do them again,
Yeah.
which is going to take me further away from peace and love and joy and gratitude.
Yeah.
And so what can I start to do differently? And my mind flow, because it all starts from here.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are fluent within, and then you start to have that inspiration through your actions of who you are, and you can start to affect the relationships. Before I hand over to Kate around relationships, just think about, instead of judging people, instead of going, oh, they're this, they're that, you're looking at them through the lens of what's happened in the past. But if you met this person for the very first time, this time, and you gave them a clean slate, because what happens is if I go, oh, that Auntie Mary, she's always negative. And that's the belief I have going into this period. And when I see her, what am I looking for? I'm looking evidence to justify the belief that I think about her.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I just go in and go, what could I learn from her? I'm sure she's been through some really hard times. And how did she come out the other side of that? And I'd love to hear that.
What's a question I could ask her about something she did when maybe she was younger, that she could then feel like she was imparting some sort of wisdom or knowledge to me, so she feels valuable as well.
Yeah. When was a time in life where you just had so much joy? You know, when you're a little girl, what do you love to do? If you are at that wavelength, you're resonating at that, being curious and just trying to step into the other person's shoes. And that's all you do all day, whether it's your Christmas day or whatever celebration or little gatherings that you start to have, you start to ask great questions, you're going to feel fantastic. And it's like you're just this curious little kid wanting to know all about that person. And if you put them at the center of the universe, in other words, you're just all about them. I already know they may not ask a single thing about you.
Yeah, it's probably the way.
Now, if people ask you, how was your year? No, don't do that. Come up with, you know what? It was really hard. The best thing you could do is be vulnerable with people. Going, I had some really low times and this is why, but this is what I learned about myself. And the great stuff has been this and this and this. So if you want to have superficial relationships, do the superficial conversation.
Yeah.
But if you want to get deep with people, and I think that's what lights the soul up. I think it's you being vulnerable, you sharing your challenges, your wins, your, just be really raw with people, but then just don't blah and leave it with them. But you know what? On the other side of that, this is what I started to learn about myself. So it's been, overall really an amazing year. So I hope that brings some value. I'm sure it's probably not what you thought we would talk about, but I want to go straight for the things that I believe truly, truly matter. Okay.
Yeah.
And so don't leave this little workshop without going through some of those activities that I said for you to do. This is not like TV where I watch, kind of complacently. If you do these things, not just through this holiday period, if you do this more and more, you are of service to people. You ask questions that bring out the life in people, that inspire them. And then whenever they think about when I'm going to see them, they always make me feel really good about myself. Who do people love talking about? Themselves, about what's most important to them. And so most of the time we hallucinate. We guess what we think is important to them instead of just asking. And you don't go, hey, what's important to you? You go, what do you actually love to do? When you're not at work, or if you could do anything, what would you love to do? When you're a little girl, what did you want to be when you grew up? What was it about that? Don't make it like an interrogation or an interview, but just the more that you can relate to people, I think that's going to bring the gratitude, the joy, the love, the connectedness, not who eats the most, not who brings the most desserts, not, what I mean, who gives the most presents and wraps it the best. Now that might be your love language, that might be who you are, but don't do it in order to live up to society's expectations, to fill a void that it's just going to be superficial and the next day it's forgotten. You could have some really beautiful conversations and some pivotal shifts in how you connect to people. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys tonight.
Thank you. So we are going to continue on, I guess, in that topic of conversation. And really what we're passionate about is helping you fill up on the things that really matter. And tonight, the first thing like Anthony was talking about is having that mindfulness when you go into any interaction and get together with people is so important. But here's something really interesting that I came across, and you might already be like, yeah, duh, but I wanted to share this with you. 65% of people view this time of the year as the most stressful in their life, and they link it up with the 6 most stressful times alongside of divorce, which is crazy, as well as moving house and starting a new job. So that's some of the general emotion that people, whether you're aware of it or not, it's often what people are experiencing and feeling, which is absolutely just, I can't believe that. So I think, one of the things that if we're at least aware of that, then the things that we want to start helping you do is become more empowered as you step into this and giving you things and questions like we just shared to have a better plan to go into certain get-togethers and things like that. So focusing on the important things, first thing being our mindset, second thing looking at our relationships, and the third, focusing on our health and vitality, because that is such an important part of our life. And you're going to hear from some other amazing team members shortly where they'll be sharing more around that. But in regards to relationships, what I wanted to speak into as well, and just to kind of piggyback on what Anthony was saying, is when you start to think about this time of the year, start to think about who are the people that I genuinely want to connect with and pour time into, whether that is in person, whether that's on the phone, whether that is, being able to, be on a Zoom or a video call or something like that. But who are those people, and actually deliberately schedule time throughout that period to have that. Now, sometimes if you have kids in particular, the holidays can get so crazy busy that you end up more exhausted at the flip side than actually like, wow, that was really great. And so I would encourage you, if you're a parent, to schedule some one-on-one time with each of your children, to schedule some time where there's no agenda, but you actually go and just do something together, one of the favorite things that your kids love to do. Schedule some time with your partner or one of your best friends, and even if it's a walk on the beach, just choose to get away from the consumption. So many people, like we were sharing before, go into debt during this time of the year in order to fill up and buy stuff when it's ultimately not going to keep you happy. And one of I heard a little story at a seminar I attended many years ago, and it always stuck with me, because sometimes you do go into certain gatherings and community get-togethers and whatever, and there's someone that really just grinds our gears, and we definitely get charged by them. And so I heard this story about the scorpion and the frog, and I wanted to share it with you, because you might have someone in your life that maybe you're just not like, you can be curious, like with some of the things that Anthony was sharing, that maybe that they're just not your people, but you know you're going to run into them. So what I do is, when I run into those people who are those kind of people in my life, I go, oh, there's the scorpion. So the story goes, there's this frog and this scorpion on the middle on this island, and the water starts rising higher and higher and higher. And so the frog goes, oh, well, the water's rising, I'm going to jump in and swim to the mainland. And the scorpion's like, hey, but if you leave, I'm going to drown. And he's like, yeah, well, and he's like, well, can I hop on your back? And the frog's like, no, you're going to sting me and you'll kill me. And he's like, well, why would I do that? Because then I'd drown as well. And so the frog's like, oh, okay, yep, all right. You hop on my back, because this makes sense. Hop on my back, and then start swimming. And the little frog's going across, and he's halfway to the mainland. And the next thing, whack. And the scorpion stings him. And this little frog, he's like starting to drown, and he's like, but I don't understand. Why did you sting me? And he said, I'm a scorpion, and that's what scorpions do. And it was kind of like, oh, that's a bit sad. But the reason I shared that is sometimes there's going to be that person, and they're just going to annoy you, and you just can go, they're just being that person. They're going to be the negative person. They're going to be the one that judges, or they're going to be the one, and you can just go, there's a scorpion again. I can't expect that person to be any different, and they're probably not going to be. And yes, I can ask a question or two, like Anthony said, and those are absolutely brilliant. But sometimes there's just that little scorpion that pops on. It's like, okay. And you can just realize that, just accept it for what it is, and don't try to change them, and just continue on and do the things that light you up, versus getting angry about them being the way that they are. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of just a little tip there, with potentially some of the relationships that do kind of come together during this time of the year. But I want to switch gears now and really dive into the wellness element, and what we're excited to share with you tonight around how you can have a beautiful time throughout this season, and be healthy, and not feel like at the end of it, oh my gosh, I've just undone all of the hard work from the year just gone, or I'm already way behind the 8 ball, when New Year starts, because of everything I've eaten and drunk and not moved. So I'm going to pass over to the wonderful Yvette. She is an incredible mentor in our tribal wellness movement, and she is going to share a little bit with us around what it is, that she believes you can start to be doing to really change the way that the holiday season happens for you. So Yvette.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kate. And hello, everybody. We're so excited to have you joining tonight with us. So I guess for me, I'm going to be talking about how to make sure you don't fall too far off that bandwagon over the festive season. I know for so many of us, we may still be in lockdown or just come out of lockdown. We may have had some health challenges through the course of this year. We may have put in some good work to try and lift our health, do better for ourselves. And then we hit the festive season and lots of things start happening, and it all just goes. And we just go with the flow. And by the time we hit January, we're not just where we were before the festive season, but we've taken ourselves, many, many steps back. So I have a couple of little tips for you guys to try and help you keep on track over the festive season, still have fun, because we all want to be able to still enjoy ourselves, but how to make sure that we do that in a way that's going to still make sure that we are going to be healthy at the end of that time. So step one, and this is a massive one, is plan. Like, be the little Boy Scout or Girl Scout or non-gender specific scout or whatever it is, but make sure you plan ahead. So if you're going to a function, right, we're going to get asked to go to barbecues or whatever, make sure you ask if you can maybe bring a dessert or bring a salad, something that you know that you're going to enjoy, so that no matter what is being provided at that function, you know that there's something that you can eat. I usually like to bring the dessert, because very often for me, when it gets to dessert, our family is gluten and dairy free. When it gets to dessert, we're kind of like, bow, and then we're the boring ones who sit there not having dessert. So at least I know if I bring something, that there's something that I can eat. I always make sure that even though it's delicious and gorgeous, it's still nourishing my body. And then let's say, for example, you're always going to have your Thanksgiving or your Christmas or whatever other festive season you have around this time. And it's always at Aunt Gertrude's house, and Aunt Gertrude just goes crazy on the food. Perhaps this year offer to have it at your house, because that way you are completely in control of the menu. Yes, you can ask people to bring a plate, but very often will people say, well, what would you like me to bring? And so again, you can guide that into things that you know are going to be nourishing. And at the end of that meal or the end of that day, you're still going to feel amazing and not completely grossed out and like sleeping for the next day and a half. If you're going to a restaurant, for example, and I generally would do this all the time, but if you're going to a restaurant, have a look at the menu before you get there. Most restaurants will have their menus online. So before you arrive at the restaurant, you've already looked at the menu, you've already seen what's on it, you've already made a decision before you arrive what you're going to eat. I know if you're anything like me, if I get to a restaurant and I haven't checked it out, my chances of going for something that's healthful, as opposed to I'm hungry and I'm just going to look around me and see what, you know, people around me have and just go for whatever, I'm usually going to end up making a choice that's not great for me and going to make me feel not fantastic at the end of the night. If you are shopping, for example, Christmas shopping, some of us can go for hours if that's your thing. Make sure that you have a really good, nutritious breakfast before you go out, a beautiful smoothie bowl, something that's going to keep you full and kind of sustained throughout the day. We have in our Tribal Wellness program, we have some incredible smoothie recipes and some beautiful nutritional products that we can have that's quick and easy. Will get us out the door and off to the shops, but we'll make sure that we're still not out there starving. And then, you know, instead of perhaps ending up at like the donut bar, because that's what you walk past and you see and you're hungry, you're feeling okay and you can get to make a better choice. Even better, take some snacks along with you so you can eat as you go, maybe some, you know, some carrots or some, whatever it is that's your thing that you can nibble on as you go, some fruit, so that you don't end up at a coffee shop, you know, just having a massive toasty and a big coffee with whatever on it. And then if you're home, so I know for me, whenever I'm at home, I love to sit around with my family. I love to have something to drink, something to eat. And very often those can be, you know, chips and lollies and, you know, alcohol or whatever. So again, if you're planning ahead there, if you can make sure that you have got, you know, maybe some carrots, cucumber, celery, capsicums, just cut up, or bell peppers for those of you who are not playing it in Australia, cut up already in the fridge, ready to go, some beautiful dips. There's some really awesome ones that you can just buy ready-made at the shops now, that when you check the ingredients and make sure you're always looking at the labels, that you understand and the actual things that are in it. But otherwise, again, in our program, we have some incredible dips that you can make, and keep that ready so that when everyone else has something, or everybody's sitting eating, you know, watching their Christmas movie, they've got something crunchy, you have something too that you can snack on along the way. If you have a family favorite, that's your treat that you know you love at Christmas time, have a look online, see what you can find, try and make a healthier version of that treat. Very often it's not about completely flipping things up and changing everything. It's just about making little tweaks So perhaps you can change your white sugar for brown, or maybe add some honey instead, or whatever. So have a look at that recipe, see what you can do to make it an improvement, and make sure that you're still nourishing your body. If you're like me and you're a mom and you've got kids in the house and the kids have snacks, one, I would encourage you to try and keep snack time to special occasions, I guess, for some of those ones, or make sure that you try and keep them healthy if you can. Now that kids, once they get onto holidays, when they may have been having those treat little snacks, as you know, maybe once a day or on the weekend, now they might be home and those things are available all the time. So if they're there, they're going to be at them. And if you can see them and they're in front of your face, especially for someone, a lot of my clients struggle with sugar cravings, for example. If you're seeing them all the time, it's going to be hard for you. So firstly, be mindful about what you're bringing into your house for your family over the time. And secondly, if it is in your house, perhaps put it in a container that's not clear so you can't see into it, and put it on a shelf that you can't see or that you don't access. Just that mind flip of like, that's the kids' whatever, or that's my husband's whatever, will help, and especially if you can't see it all the time. So that's all the planning stuff. And as you can see, planning is crucial. Willpower is it's not infinite. So all of us have a certain amount of willpower. And if you keep hitting up against that willpower constantly, eventually it's going to break. So the idea here with all this planning is to make sure that you avoid those situations as much as possible to make it easier on yourself, so you don't always feel like you're saying no to yourself, that you're able to still treat yourself and enjoy your time. Tip 2 is keep an eye on how you're eating and what you're drinking. Especially around this time, so many of the sort of calories and whatnot that we're intaking could be coming from what you're drinking. So beers, ciders, wine, fruit juice, all those beautiful coffees that you get at the takeaway coffee shops that suddenly have got, cinnamon and cream and nutmeg and whatever. That could be like your entire day's intake in one cup of coffee. Especially if you are on holiday and you're out and about more often and suddenly you're getting more of those things, it can very quickly add up to really take you off your journey. And it could just be, literally what you're drinking. You're not even eating that thing. And then as far as your food goes, make sure you're chewing slowly. So very often I've found if you're a fast eater, your stomach hasn't even registered that you're full yet, and you're still eating and asking for your second portion. If you chew slower, it gives your body a time to register what's going on and give you those signals that it's had enough. And that's why so often we may finish a meal and we've had a couple of portions and then we're absolutely bloated and feeling uncomfortable. So just try and chew slowly, have a wonderful conversation with whoever's at the table with you, or if you're alone, try and count your chews to make sure that you just really give yourself time to digest your food and give your body time to recognize what's going on. If you are, again, at a function, we're at a Christmas, we're at a barbecue, think that you're going to only have your one portion. So we're not going to go back for seconds and thirds. We're having one portion, and we're going to start with the salad and veggies first. So that's what you're going to start on your plate first, and then we add the rest. So make sure you can still have everything, right? So you're not limiting what you're eating, but just you're loading the majority of your plate with the foods that you know are going to be good for you and still make you feel good at the end of the day. Tip 3, keep moving. Holidays are great, but you shouldn't be spending your entire holiday on the couch watching holiday movies, like all day. So make sure that you're still moving. It's really good for your complete holistic health, whether that's a walk on the beach or down the street with your dogs or playing cricket with the kids. Or we have some amazing online workouts in our program that you can do at home. Yoga on YouTube, dance choreography if you're me, whatever it is that keeps you moving, make sure that you're doing that. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on is something that Anne touched on briefly, and that is to keep an eye on your mental health as well as the mental health of those around you. As Kate and Anne mentioned, Christmas is a really stressful time for a lot of people. everything that we're being bombarded with, Christmas cards, the holiday movies, you know, all the ads that we're seeing on TV, all portray these perfect little people in these perfect little families having perfect little lives, you know, with jingly, twinkly music. And life's not like that. For even the best of us, life's not like that. And so it's hard for us, it's easy for us to feel that we should be living up to more, or we should be expecting something more, or whatever it is. And so if you know that Christmas is going to be a difficult time for you, if you're normally with your family and through these tough times, you're not now, whatever it is, again, revert to step one, plan ahead. Okay, so make sure that you keep yourself busy. If you're somebody who's going to be alone, try and maybe get out, help somewhere, volunteer with others. Maybe something like a soup kitchen or something where you're keeping yourself busy, but you're still helping other people and getting yourself out of the house. Or make plans with friends just to make sure that you're not just always home alone. Make sure you're getting enough sleep. It's easy if you know you may not be going to work that next day because you're on holiday, just to stay up late and not worry about it. But sleep is so important for your mental health. So make sure that you're still keeping a really good sleep schedule. And then lastly, if you are somebody who knows that they struggle with their mental health, plan ahead, make a couple of extra appointments with your counselor or therapist that you have. And so make sure whoever your support team is around you and knows that if you kind of slip off the radar, or if you go a bit quiet, that you have people that are looking out for you and you've planned ahead and taken responsibility for yourself to make sure that you have those appointments scheduled so that you're taking care of yourself over the festive season. Those are all the tips from me. We are now going to head off to our beautiful dancing diva in the kitchen, Anna, who's going to do a bit of food stuff with you.
Hello, thanks so much, Yvette. So much goodness there, amazing. So I'm going to show you, kind of bouncing off what Yvette said, just about, and I love what he said about mind flow. And I think we sometimes think Christmas, we gotta be naughty. Like it's just, that's our mindset. And so I like to just twist that and give you a little bit of mind flow that you can, like Yvette said, still eat beautifully, still have delicious things around you, but also be nourishing yourselves. And I really think that mind flow to really start nourishing ourselves and give ourselves that self-love over Christmas time and, you know, whatever holiday season, so that you feel good about yourself at the end of the day is so important. So I'm going to share one of my favorite recipes that's super Moorish and delicious, and it comes out of our festive holiday guide. It is so easy, but I can literally do it in 5 minutes. So I thought I might just share. So what I'm going to make is our vegan chocolate truffles. They are the bomb. So if you have a pen and paper, write it down, but you actually are going to get the recipe book, so you'll be sweet. Or contact us so that you can get the recipe book. But all you need is either, I've got Thermomix, but any sort of I'm going to say blender, food processor will be fine. Something to grind it all up. You are going to need 2 cups of pitted dates. I chop them in half because sometimes my pitted dates actually are not pitted, and that is a real game wrecker for the old truffles. I need half a cup of bitter chopped up chocolate. So I've got 78% chocolate there. Delicious. It's my favorite, just saying. 2 tablespoons of cacao. While I'm saying this, I might as well pop it in. This is literally how easy it is. I put all this together 5 minutes before we got together too. I could have been prepping while we go, but just for ease. So there's the chocolate. 2 tablespoons of cacao powder, nice, organic, delicious. Super good antioxidants, your amazing fiber in your dates, so sweet and delicious. Really good for your digestive system. So it's good for you and tastes good. And then I've got some delicious spices. So a teaspoon of Himalayan rock salt, or a good quality salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Now, for anybody who maybe is not loving a little bit of cayenne pepper, you can do a little bit less. So I do about 1/8 because my children love these, and I've blown their heads off a couple of times because I did it too spicy. But sometimes that's a little bit funny too, just depending on what sort of day you're having, and just, you know, or if you want more, you could add a little bit more and then gets that for you. So you just literally pop that all into your food processor. Last but not least, softened 2 tablespoons softened coconut oil. It's very hot here in Australia at the moment. Well, I would say most places. Everybody hot? Let me know if you're hot there. But I don't even have to melt that. It's just in the cupboard now. You know when summer's hit, because you get the lovely soft coconut oil. So try and get organic where you can. Less chemicals and things into you is amazing. And that is literally it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to make a little bit of noise. So sorry about that. I might do a dance break. Should have had music on. The kids are sleeping, so be quiet. And we're just going to blend it for 1 second. I have to turn it on again. And basically, you're just blending it to get like a paste-like consistency, but the chocolate will stay a little bit chunky. Here, I throw in a mix. It's giving me a warning.
Hey Anna, I'm going to share the screen with the recipe and pop you if you want. I can mute you while you're blending it.
Amazing.
So this is the beautiful recipe that Anna is whipping up, and I have another one to show you as well. And these are some of the recipes that are in our festive guide. So she's making the raw chocolate truffles right here, which is so delicious. And yeah, you could possibly just not add, you could add the cayenne and just not share it with your kids as well. I like that idea. Then we've got this beautiful chocolate bark, which has got lots of good things in it. I know for me growing up, Rocky Road has been a huge thing in my childhood, but you know, it's full of marshmallows and lollies and things like that. So you can be putting beautiful things like goji berries and coconut and things like that. And then we have another beautiful example of some recipes here, a Prosecco punch, beautiful parfait. So these are just a few examples of the recipes that we have available in our program that are all beautiful whole foods. I'll unmute you now, Anna, so you can let us know how you went.
Okay. So 10 seconds is all it took on about speed 8 on the Thermomix, but like I said, doesn't really matter what you use. And you're just gonna, oh, sorry, lighting is terrible. I'll work on that. But essentially you get, I'll pull some out, this lovely chewy mess that's quite sticky. And all you're gonna do is roll it. The recipe does say to use oil, and I have found that I have not needed to use oil because it's beautiful. And my trick is just to put a little cacao in a bowl. It's like a little fun. Oh, I'm gonna work on my kitchen technique. Here, hold on. Rolling.
You're doing great. Awesome.
Touch it, and then you've coated it, and then we're just gonna pop it. I'll show you in a second. Just gonna pop those into a container and put them into the fridge, and they're ready to go. So just by coating them in that mixture is key because it keeps them from sticking. And then it also gives them a nice little bitter taste on the outside because they are super delicious and sweet. But for all of you that love a rum ball or some sort of like Christmas decadent treat, I'll just show you these two. I'll keep going and post a picture later. But you can see they're just so beautiful. I made these for my kids' teachers last year, put them in a beautiful jar with a ribbon on them, and they're beautiful, and a little thank you card, you know, because I really do think we can still have beautiful, nourishing food that is going to support us all the way and make us feel good as we go. So try and switch if you can for this holiday season, your mind flow. See if you can be reaching for those, like Yvette was saying, if you can make a platter up that it's a rainbow, it's going to grab you in. It's going to make you so excited to eat it because the colors are going to make you want to eat it more. And like Yvette also said, check out our dips because you don't need to be buying things that are processed and have chemicals in them. You can have even better, and literally things take 5 minutes, you know, which is super awesome. So it doesn't need to be hard. Health isn't hard. It's just about choosing the right things to support you. And I hope you have an amazing holiday season.
Amazing, Anna. Thank you so much. We're going to start talking about some drink-a-poos right now. Let's head across to Michelle. She's going to share some awesome little tips with us right now, which I can't wait to hear. Thanks, Michelle.
Hey ladies, thank you so much for these awesome tips. I actually have my notebook next to me and I'm scribbling down some things, but I loved so many of the things that have already been shared. And you know, one of the things that Yvette mentioned, and it is so, so true, we might be doing really, really well with what we're eating and we think, oh, you know, I won't eat the dessert, or I won't, you know, have the cheese platter, but I'll just have a couple glasses of wine, or I'll just have a cocktail. And we kind of think because we're drinking it, it's liquid calories, it's not a big deal. But the bummer is, I hate to say, it's sugar, sugar, sugar. So there's a few things that we can do to still make it fun and festive. And, you know, the other thing that I like to say, and again, I think Yvette pulled this through in what she was sharing, if you are the person that is bringing the special drink, or if you are the person that's making the special dessert, or if you get to be the person that actually gets to host, you get to kind of put your healthy kind of thing on everyone else, and they don't even know because it's so delicious. So if you are going somewhere, I feel like one thing, and I don't know why this is, but you know, when you talk about the scorpions that might be in your holiday repertoire, sometimes it's, you know, the uncle or the cousin that is just insistent that everybody has a glass of something. And, you know, don't feel pressured. You know, you're in control to make the choices that you need to make. If that's to have an alcoholic beverage and enjoy it, then that's fantastic. But for many of us, we have come off of a reboot and we've been avoiding alcohol for probably, I don't know, I came off of one in October and November, and it hasn't been like perfect. But what I've noticed is instead of just casually having a glass of wine in the evening, I'm just not doing it. So if I do, here's a warning, like it'll knock you for 10 if you're not careful. So that's one way to really kind of set yourself back in the holidays. If you're getting together with people, maybe for the first time in ages, and you're so excited, like don't fall prey to letting the drinks rob you of the evening. So I have a couple of things that I wanted to share. I know that mixed drinks, pre-mixed drinks are super, super high in sugar. Just say no to those. If you want to make a fun drink, kombucha is a fantastic mixer. And it's going to mean that you're not going to have as much sugar. And you're going to get a little probiotic action. You saw our Prosecco probiotic from the guide, and that is delicious. But in Australia right now, it's summertime. And so think about the things that are fresh and delicious and yummy. I have a strawberry, what's it called? It's a strawberry mojito kombucha cocktail. So typically in a mojito, you're looking at about 24 grams of cane sugar, which is equal to like 6 teaspoons of sugar in a drink. Now, you wouldn't put 6 teaspoons of sugar in a coffee. I'm sure you don't want to have that in a drink either. So this is really fantastic. It does not have to be alcoholic. Like I said, you just get some beautiful berries, so some beautiful strawberries. You muddle them up. We just got this beautiful mint from our garden. I wish that this was smell-o-vision because it's so, so fresh. So you muddle it up, and then I've got it in my little jug. And to that, you just add some lime juice. You add a little bit of ginger and lemon kombucha, and then you just pour it over some ice. And if you want to make it an alcoholic beverage, you can just add a little bit of vodka. You don't have to add a lot, just a little bit. And I also think that sometimes with drinks, like if you make them pretty, like it just kind of feels more special. So I have this beautiful, it almost looks like it's got like Christmas leaves on it. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm gonna pop my strawberry mojito in there. It's so pretty. And this is, I don't know if you can see it. It's so pretty with a sprig of mint. And one thing that I like to recommend is that if you are going to be having drinks, it's a really great rule of thumb to have a glass of water or sparkling water in between your drinks. The other thing that I would suggest is if you only want to have 2 drinks, decide that ahead of time. Like I'm just having 2 drinks tonight. And if you've got a buddy, it's even better because sometimes you can kind of get carried away and you know, like I said, it doesn't go in a good direction. And I think often when we're drinking, because of the sugar content in some things, then we do, it's kind of like a domino effect. We start choosing the things that we were avoiding at the beginning of the night, and it's kind of like a little bit of everything. So the other one that I made is our cinnamon cranberry orange sunrise. Kate can show that recipe later if she wants to, or you can just look at it in our festive holiday guide. But essentially, for those of you that are in North America, this is an easier ingredient to find than it is in Australia. It uses frozen cranberries, and you actually put them on the stove with some fresh orange juice, some cinnamon, some ginger, and some turmeric, which is really, really yum. I couldn't get my hands on any, so I used frozen raspberries, which was really, really nice. and you reduce it down and make a syrup, strain it, and then you pop it in a shaker. This is my very sophisticated cocktail shaker with some ice and a bit of vodka. Shake it up, and then you just strain it. And you can top it with sparkling water. I thought this one looked very fancy. If you showed up at somebody's house with that sparkling water, they would probably have no clue that it was water. Sometimes people want a little bit of a bubble. So just top it. You can put some more berries in it. Give it a stir. Put a little sprig of rosemary. And again, it's a beautiful, refreshing cocktail. And I'm telling you, someone else is going to want to have a sip. So it's great because, you know, these make multiple serves, and you can make a pitcher. And like I said, if you just want it to be non-alcoholic, keep the alcohol on a side, have your little measurer when you make up each drink. And it's just super simple. The other thing that I saw, and it's more and more readily available now, tonic water. So tonic water is like the zinger. If people are like, oh, I'll have a vodka tonic, I'll have a gin and tonic, whatever, and they think it's a really healthy drink, tonic is loaded with sugar. So I know Nexpa is doing a sugar-free variety, but there were a few others that I saw at the bottle shop. So just read the labels so that you know what you're having and enjoy. I hope you have a super festive season. I think that we're going to head over to the amazing Janae for some more tips for you guys.
Hey everyone, great to be sharing tonight. Firstly, does anyone else want to go and make a platter, sit outside with a glass of sparkling or something and just like sit under the moon right now? Because that's kind of the vibe I'm feeling at the moment. So that's where I'd totally love to be. The tips tonight have been absolutely amazing. And I'd love to know, by just raising your hand, is anyone else sort of tuning in tonight going, you know what, I can do at least one of those things right now. I can make a couple of those changes like right now. Really simple. I'll be honest, I was one of those people in the past who I got to the festive season, and I'm from a Sicilian background, right? So everything is around food, like everything. And you whack the festive season on top of that and it's like, wow. And I would get to this time of year and go, oh, I'm too busy. I'm going to my nonna's place, you know, I've got to eat everything. I'm going to have that drink. I'm not going to worry about exercising because I want to sleep in. And then I would get to January and go, why? And didn't want to feel bad for what I had done, because whatever's done, that's done. You can't sort of change that. But actually just feeling yucky, like, you know, of all that stuff I'd put in my body and not really looked after myself. I get to January and go, oh, just feel a bit gross. And now I have to kind of redo everything and start again. Just by what everyone shared tonight, start now. Start making a couple of those simple little changes, little upgrades, or little, you know, little adjustments to your daily food, or, you know, those parties you're going to. And come January, you're going to be like, man, I'm freaking awesome. And your body's is going to thank you for that. And not only that, the people you start to hang around with and they see you, you know, trying these new things, or just being mindful of your body and appreciating your body a little bit more, you'll have that influence on people too. And they'll go, you know, maybe I can do that. You know, if Yvette did that, that's something I can do. Surely I can, you know, incorporate that into my life right now. So yes, I know it's a crazy busy time of year, but it's like the perfect time to say yes to your health and to really just make those simple changes now. Because like I said, come January, you're not going to be feeling that tiredness and that bloating, and you're just going to really appreciate that you knew that your body was worth putting that little bit of extra special time into it to make the right choices, and just to make those little simple upgrades. Like I said, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can just be those simple upgrades now that your body's going to thank you for come January. So just wanted to share that, to know that now is the perfect time to start. Don't wait until January. Make those changes now. So thank you so much. I'm going to hand back to the beautiful Kate.
Thank you, Janae, and thanks to everyone who shared tonight. And I love what you said, Janae. We can all just choose one thing and start taking action now. You don't want to put everything off till, I'll get around to that later. We can really, you know, finish this year strong. And I think for so many people, this year has been a little unexpected, to say the least. And for those of you that aren't yet a member of our community or our program, I think you'll hopefully get a sense of what we're all about, really helping others live an empowered life and really be able to make some upgrades in their health and lifestyle, but without missing out as well, which is so important. And so if you've been invited along to this webinar tonight, and you're curious to learn more, I'd really encourage you to connect back with the person who has invited you along. And why not start 2021 with a clear vision for your health and your vitality and join us as a client. You know, we have so many amazing resources and support for you. And I'm just going to finish off tonight with a little video and just wishing all of you a beautiful holiday season, however you spend it. And that you take some time throughout this break to stop and reflect on the year that was, what you're grateful for, and creating a vision for what you're going to do differently in 21 and how it's going to be even more amazing for you and your family.
Hello, thank you for taking a closer look at Tribal Wellness Movement. We've created an incredible program with a global community of health coaches, from nutritionists, yogis, naturopaths, chiropractors, exercise physiologists, medical doctors, as well as everyday wellness warriors. Mums on a mission from all over the world.
Think of it like having a health retreat at your fingertips in the comfort of your own home. What I love about the program is that it meets everyone where they're at. It's designed to bridge the gap between what we are doing and what we know we should be doing every single day.
So whether your goals are increasing energy and vitality for your family, or weight loss, shedding those few unwanted kilos, it might be reducing stress and building your immune system, improving your digestive health or balancing your hormones, or just gaining a better understanding how to create a happy, healthy life. This program is tailored to help you make consistent, sustainable, healthy upgrades.
The Tribal Wellness Movement covers all aspects of well-being. So whether it's yoga, mindset, workouts, you can either do at a gym or right there in your living room, eating guides, recipes, and whole food nutritionals for radiant skin, or healthy lifestyle hacks. Our program's holistic approach has got you covered.
And the great thing about it is you will have your own mentor to show you how to get the most out of your journey and keep you on track. All this for less than a cup of coffee a day. We have programs to suit all budgets. So make today the day you say yes to creating the vitality, the energy, the body and mindset you desire and you deserve.
So connect back with the person who shared this link with you, or fill in the form below and one of our team will connect with you to see how we can help you realize your health goals. We look forward to seeing you being part of the thousands of families already saying yes to their health and realizing their greatest health potential in our online wellness community.
Anyway, thank you again, everyone, for being a part of tonight. Looking forward to connecting with you. And again, if you have questions, please either pop into the comments or connect back to the Tribal Wellness Coordinator who has invited you along to this webinar and our masterclass so we can help you on your wellness journey. Thanks, everyone, and have a great night.